Hi, good afternoon, good morning from the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center. My name is Diana, and with me today is a very handsome great horned owl named Jasper. And we are once again at our Raptor Center. The Raptor Center, of course, is where we provide care to ill, injured, and orphaned birds of prey, trying to help them recover from their injuries and go back to the wild. But we also do a lot of education, so we do maintain several non-releasable birds that help us with education, and of course that's Jasper's job. He is one of our educational ambassadors. Jasper's been with us now for 5 years. He came in as a youngster, probably maybe a little less than 2 years old when he arrived, and he came to us kind of mysterious circumstances. We don't know a lot about what happened to Jasper. He was actually confiscated from someone by Colorado Parks and Wildlife, and after they picked Jasper up, they just needed somewhere for him to go for a while till they figured things out, and so he came to our center. They didn't really have a good backstory of why he was injured or how he, if you probably noticed, he's showing you the back of his head right now, but when he looks forward, you'll notice that he is missing an eye, and he also has some damage to a wing, which I'll show you here in just a little bit. There wasn't a lot of good backstory from the Parks and Wildlife. They just didn't know. So anyway, we said, sure, we can take care of Jasper for a while until you decide what's going to happen with him, whether he would be placed with another educational group or whatever. But anyway, he stayed with us, and we kind of got attached to Jasper. He was a sweet little guy, and we thought maybe we could provide a home for him. So we did contact Parks and Wildlife and of course the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, and said, hey, we would love for him to join our educational staff. And they were very happy to hear that, made their decisions easier about what to do with him. So we did all the paperwork because, of course, birds of prey, like most birds in North America, are protected under the Migratory Bird Treaty Act. So we received permission for Jasper to remain in our care and become one of our educational residents. And he's been doing that now for 5 years. So he's a wonderful little fellow. Now, great horned owls are our most common owl in Colorado. They are very large, as you can see. Jasper's sitting next to me. I'll back up a little bit so you can get his full view. They are known for the horns on the top of their head. So I don't know if he'll let me do it. He's a little nervous about things, but you'll notice on the top of his head, whoop, yep, my fault. He does have, his horns are down today, but they do have some feathers. When he gives you a profile, you can see them, that when they want to, they can lift up, and they do look sort of like a pair of horns sticking out of their head, but of course they're actually just the feathers. But they get that name great horned owl because whoever saw them first thought, oh, wow, it looks like that owl has some horns. So that's what I'll call it, a great horned owl. They're, again, very common. They live in virtually any habitat in Colorado, and actually they're very common throughout North and South America. So they can live in rainforests, they can live in deserts, prairies, marshes, swamps, downtown Colorado Springs. I know of a couple of Lowe's stores in the Colorado Springs area that have great horned owls nesting in their outdoor areas, which is great for pigeon control, so I'm sure that's why they let them stay there. So anyhow, they can live in virtually a lot of habitats, and of course they eat a lot of different animals. Great horned owls are fairly large. Jasper is a male, so in birds of prey, most species, the males are actually smaller than the females. So when you see two hawks or two great horned owls sitting together, the larger of the two is the girl, the smaller is the boy. So you can kind of tell them apart by their size, but not by their color. Most birds of prey, males and females look the same. But there are a few species that break that, like, for instance, a tiny American kestrel, a little falcon. The males have blue wings and the girls don't, so the boys get to be prettier. But anyhow, they're still both lovely no matter which sex they are. But they'll eat a variety of animals. Great horned owls, again, powerful hunters. These guys can take prey anywhere from the size of a grasshopper all the way up, including things as large as jackrabbits, and believe it or not, even skunks. So this is one of the few predators that skunks have to worry about, is the great horned owl. So they are very, very powerful hunters. And of course, just like owls and birds of prey everywhere, they have basic characteristics that put them in the group. Not all birds of prey are, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I apologize. Anyway, not all birds of prey are related to each other, but they are definitely grouped together because of characteristics. So they have, hi Teresa. Anyway, so people are checking in. I'm seeing you guys posting things on the screen and I'm getting distracted, so I apologize. I'm kind of new to all this. But anyhow, they have similar characteristics. So first of all, they have large eyes, which help them, of course, to look for their prey. If you're a daytime hunter or a diurnally active animal, bird of prey that is, your eyes are built for long distance vision. If you're an owl, your large eyes, which believe it or not take up over 1/3 of the space of your skull, is your eyeballs if you're an owl. Their eyes are engineered for night vision. And then, of course, all birds of prey have powerful wings. So Jasper, let's see if he'll open, whoops, and not fly at the screen, but oh, come on. There we go. There's his beautiful wings. Oh my gosh. Huge, powerful wings. Great horned owls have anywhere from a 3 to 4.5 foot wingspan. So they are very, very large, but they have powerful wings for chasing after their prey. And then, of course, they have their famous feet. Those large toes with those impressive claws we call the talons to help them catch and kill their prey. And then, of course, they all have a hook-shaped beak. Now that Jasper's a little stressed out from his flying there, you can see that he has a very large hook on his beak, and that hook is there to help him tear his food into pieces he can swallow. But owls, of course, have their own twist, if you will, on these adaptations. One, again, is the change in the eyes. Since he's night active or nocturnal, his eyes are engineered for nighttime. But owls also use their hearing to help them find prey. So if you think about it at night, even though you might have great night vision, it's still difficult to see animals moving about because, again, most animals are not out in the open. They're hiding under things. They're moving through the grass, through the weeds. They're running along the sides of the barn or the building. So it could be difficult to pick them out in the dark. So owls have great hearing. And when you look at an owl's face, you'll notice that around each of their eyes, they sort of have a circular pattern of feathers. We call that a facial disc. And the feathers on that disc, the way that they're arranged in pattern, is to actually help to focus the sound into that disc and then send the sound to the outer edge where the ear opening is. So on Jasper's face, you'll see he's got that beautiful tan color, and then he's got this black stripe. And that black, under those black feathers, if you were to pull those forward, and Jasper won't let me do that, but if we were to pull those forward, underneath that outer black ring would be his ear opening. And it's quite large. Jasper's ear openings are actually, they're about this big on the side of his head. So they take up a big chunk of his head is his ears, and he's so sensitive that Jasper could actually find an animal hiding in the grass just by hearing that animal eating a seed. And if you've never heard a rodent eat a seed, it's really easy sound to mimic. All you have to do is snap your fingernails together, click, 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 like that. And that's the sound of a rodent eating. And that's what he can do. Well, part of the reason Jasper has to remain in captivity is, if you've probably already guessed, his facial disc, that facial pattern, and he's missing, is damaged, and he's missing an eye. And that means that he can't hear properly and he can't see properly. You need 2 eyes for really good depth perception, how to judge how far things are from you. And only 1 eye makes it hard. I had to have eye surgery one time, and so I had to wear a patch for a while, and I ran into everything because I couldn't judge really how well or how far away I was sometimes from things. And you could just imagine him sailing through the forest 20 to 30 miles an hour. We're having all kinds of fun difficulties today. Anyway, so as you could just imagine him just zooping through the forest at 20, 30 miles an hour, there's no way he would be able to judge depth with only 1 eye. And because he's missing, or he's damaged that ear, that facial disc, he can't pull sounds the way he needs to be able to judge where things are with sound. So it's 2 problems for Jasper that have to do with his way of sensing his prey. And then, of course, if he were, though, before he had his accident or whatever happened to him, he was out there hunting, he would also need to chase his prey. And we saw those big, beautiful wings. And there we go. That's it. That's what I want you to do. So anyhow, he has those big, beautiful wings to chase his prey. Now, great horned owls' wings are massive, and they're really great for gliding and gliding silently. Owls, for the most part, have specially designed wings. The edges of their feathers, I don't know if Jasper will let me, but if you kind of can take a look, you can see that the edges of his feathers sort of look a little frayed or fringed, and that's actually an important tool. It helps them to break up the wind, when they push through the air, having those things open, those feather edges open, actually reduces their resistance as they fly. It makes them fly a little slower than a hawk or falcon, but they're trading speed for silence. And especially when you're a night hunter, that's a great tool because it basically turns you into a stealth bomber. It's dark out, nobody sees you coming. The way that your feathers are designed as you fly, you don't make any noise, so no one hears you coming. And of course, once you get there, well, you won't be able to know that the predator's above you if you're that little mouse until those beautiful toes and talons have dropped on top of you and have snatched you. So they have these amazing set of tools to help them survive in the wild, and they all have this twist. I'm really fond of great horned owl feet. They are fuzzy. Not all birds of prey have feathers all the way down to the tops of their toes, but the great horned owls do, and it's kind of cool. It does a lot of different things for them. One, it can provide some insulation. Great horned owls are year-round residents where they live, so if they're in a cold climate, the feathers on the toes can provide some insulation from the cold. Also, it actually provides a little protection. If you grab hold of an animal and you don't get a good grab in the right spot, certainly that animal could reach around and bite you on your toe. We see owls coming in and actually other birds of prey that actually are missing a toe, which means something probably bit it off, and it does happen to them. So anyway, you might, a little mouse or a rat trying to bite you might just get a mouthful of fur, or feathers, excuse me, not fur. Also, if you'll notice, he's very fluffy, and that's, whoops, sorry, that's part of that being silent when you're flying, but it also is great protection. So if Jasper, say, were to go after a rattlesnake, again, he doesn't grab the head first, he gets part of the body, and that rattlesnake is able to come around and try to strike. Again, because he's so fluffy and soft in here, the snake might bite, but just get a mouthful of feathers. And I guarantee you, before that snake can take a second strike, that other foot has come around and grabbed hold of that head. So it's just a very amazing tool that these guys have to help them survive. So Jasper also has a second injury. I don't know if you noticed when he opened. Let me see one more time if I can just get him to open. He's actually missing some tissue on his right wing, and it's really hard to tell, but birds have a tissue that runs from their shoulder out to their wrist, and it kind of fills in this triangular area here, and it's called a patagium. It's very important for flying, and in Jasper's case, that tissue has been torn out. So whatever happened to him, and we can only guess, a lot of times with injuries like barbed wire, when the birds get tangled in barbed wire, a lot of times what they do is they'll snag that tissue area on the barbs of the fence, and in the process of them struggling to try to get themselves free, they'll do a lot of tissue damage, they'll do a lot of tearing of that area, and sometimes that's one of the spots that gets really ripped up and prevents the bird from going back to the wild. Also, it's possible the same thing happened to the eye, so we're guessing maybe he was in barbed wire. We don't know. He could have been hit by a car. He could have been attacked by another predator. It's very, very unknown what caused all of Jasper's injuries. But regardless, he has settled into life here with us very nicely and has become one of our favorite teaching birds to travel with. So here at the center, what's been happening? It's been very, very quiet. We're getting lots of calls about young birds. Fortunately, we're able so far to get them all back with their parents, which is kind of nice. It means no babies to take care of here. But happy to get them back into the wild. We did have a couple of birds come to us. Unfortunately, they were very sick. We had a great horned owl come in just the other day, and she was very, very ill. And when we examined her, we found that she had a nasty parasite that had moved into her body, and it's called Trichomonas. And what it does is it grows in the mouth and the esophagus area, and as the parasite grows, it forms a colony, and it basically, this is gross, but it basically blocks their esophagus, and they can't swallow. And if it's not caught early enough, it just keeps multiplying, it keeps growing. And in her case, it was in her throat, it was in her mouth, and it had moved up into her sinuses and things in her skull. And when it gets to that point, it's something we can't do anything for. Normally, if it's a mild case, we can treat it, but hers the parasite had done too much damage. So sadly, she didn't survive, and that was a little heartbreaking for us. The other sad thing, I don't know if you've noticed on our posts, and I mentioned that we had a great horned owl chick that was trying to hatch, and sadly it did not make it out of its shell, and that's always a sad thing when they don't. But we do have to let them get out on their own, because if they can't make it out of the shell, that means they're not strong enough to survive. So we had to let nature take its course there. So unfortunately, no baby great horned owls to feed and care for right now, but that's okay. We're getting some other things done. We're busy cleaning. We have just a tiny crew here at the center, of course. Because of the pandemic, we're doing our best to social distance but still get things done. So we're doing things that we can do outside and away from each other, like painting. We're painting floors in the building since there's so few of us to track, and things like that are getting done. We're working on doing a back behind the scenes tour for you, so hopefully by next week we'll have that organized and we'll walk you through our center. And you can see all the newly painted floors, so it'll be great for that. We hope that you're doing well, and I know I've gone on quite a while today, but if you should have any questions, it's hard for me to answer them on screen, but I'm more than happy to go back into the Facebook comments and answer your questions if you have them. So please feel free to leave a question or two in the Facebook comments, and I'll get them to them when I'm finished here with Jasper or later on today. If we're still looking towards summer. We're hoping that things will settle down and we can find a safe way to hold our annual summer camps. So if you're interested in that, please go check out our summer programs at hikeandlearn.org for more information, and as well as anything else that's happening. We have updates routinely on our website. We're hoping to get the Mountain Park campus back open. The roads and stuff in the park should be opening in the next week or so that you can get more active up in the Beulah area. I know the river campus here is busy. People are out walking their dogs, walking their kids, keeping very, very busy. So that is great to see everybody out and enjoying nature. The osprey across the parking lot from the Raptor Center, it's been an exciting show. There's a new pair in town, and they've been battling our current osprey for their post. Fortunately, they've moved down the road a little bit, and we're working to try to get another platform up for them a little ways down the road from us so that they don't nest like they're trying to on the power lines. But we're all safe here. We're continuing to care for the birds here at the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center. We hope that you guys all get out, enjoy the beautiful spring weather. Oh my gosh, it's so pretty today. Get out, be well, be safe. We're hoping in a few weeks that we'll be able to have the Raptor Center back open for you, but we're still a little concerned. It's hard for us to disinfect the way that we would need to keep you all safe, but hopefully we'll be able to figure that out, and in the next month or so we should be back open to visitors. So from the Nature and Wildlife Discovery Center, Jasper and I wish you a happy day. Be safe, be well, and tune in tomorrow and we'll have another bird of prey. Thanks so much.